modern dating, the whole damn thing, it does feel pretty empty, doesn't it? It feels like this thankless Sisyphean task of pushing a boulder all the way up a hill, only for that boulder to roll all the way down again, and then for you to have to push it back up again, ad infinitum, forever, okay? Nobody likes modern dating, okay? People say women have it easier, and at the front end, yes, in some ways they do, because they get more attention, and etc. But even women routinely will tell me how much they dislike the dating apps, okay? And it's one thing being a woman and having a lot of attention, but where's that attention coming from? Is it coming from top tier guys? No, for the most part it isn't. It's coming from complete buffoons, okay? And then if she does get attention from a couple of top tier guys, are those guys going to hang around, okay? And this isn't really a video about women's dating issues, but I mean the problem then that women have is, okay, she finds a good one, but is he going to commit? Is he going to stick around? Okay, so that's a problem from her point of view. From the male point of view, the problem is that, for a start, the dating apps just don't seem to work very well for most guys in most locales. I mean, for some they do, and if that's you, great, congratulations. But for a lot of guys, they just don't seem to work very well. The exceptions can be if you're traveling, if you're in different locations, where maybe you're a bit more of a bright, shiny object, then fine. But if you're stuck in London or Manhattan or, you know, some big metropolis, it's not that you can't make things happen from the dating apps, because obviously you can. It's just that there's a lot of competition. There are a lot more women on there than men. Women, the only thing that they've got to go on really is your pictures. So, of course, by nature, it becomes very much about, you know, your physical appearance as opposed to anything else. And unless you start doing video calls and things, which you can, and actually which, if you're using the apps and websites and things, can be quite a good thing to do, it's very hard to show your personality, right, in pictures. Okay, yeah, you could be holding a dog, or God forbid a fish, or whatever people do nowadays. You know, you could be joking around with some friends in one of your pictures, but you can't really showcase your personality. And this is why, with meeting in real life, you know, guys always, without exception, report better results from meeting women in real life. You know, they meet a better class of women. They tend to meet women who perhaps they would have thought were out of their league if it was on the dating apps, and so on and so forth. And I think there are various reasons for that, but one of the reasons is that to walk up to somebody that you don't know in public, whether that's in a bar or a lounge or an airport or, I don't know, a shopping mall or wherever it is, and start a conversation with them, shows a lot of courage, okay? And sometimes people say, well, it's burned out now because women are used to it, and they, you know, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, of course, women have been approached before, but not very frequently by well put together men who are charming, who know what they're doing. Women get approached a lot at night in bars by drunk dudes who are slobbering all over them, okay? What they don't get very much is a well-dressed, well-educated, articulate, charming gentleman coming up and approaching them in a very calibrated and respectful way, okay? So if you can do that, then you're rare and you separate yourself out immediately from 90% of the rest of the pack, or probably 95%. But the other thing is that when you meet in real life, you can showcase your personality in a way that you just can't through static photographs on the apps. Now, I know that there are people who will help you with your dating profile. And actually, that's a service that I offer. I've worked with people on their dating apps before, because there are definitely better pictures and worse pictures that you could be using. It does take trial and error. It's also a bit of a lottery, though. There are no guarantees, but, you know, there are certainly mistakes that guys make with the pictures that they post that can be easily corrected. So you can definitely improve your dating profile. You could have a better dating profile that's going to be more likely to net good results. But still, we come down to the fundamental thing, which is that how do you showcase your personality? Well, maybe you can do it in the bio, but bios are cringe. Let's face it. All text on dating app bios and things, it's all cringe, right? And girls complain about this, right? I mean, if you read female bloggers, they'll complain about this. Guys just flexing about the same nonsense, the same boring ass stuff, and just not showcasing personality. So if you try to showcase personality through writing something on your dating bio, it's either going to backfire, it's going to seem lame, it's going to seem cheesy, or it's just not going to set the world on fire. However, and this is why I continue to say on this channel that meeting in real life is the secret sauce. It is the hack that you're looking for. All of this is rectified when you meet in real life, because you can showcase your personality, and importantly for you and for her, you also get an immediate chemistry test. We're not at school here. Sorry, you get a sense check of the chemistry immediately. Okay, whereas on an app you can't. And another complaint that people have about apps, women included, is that you can be speaking to somebody for 3 weeks on an app, and it seems like the vibe is really great. It seems like the connection is really great, and then you meet in person and it just isn't, or the person's catfished you. They don't look like their photos, whatever. A woman was telling me about this the other night. She'd been talking to a guy for a couple of weeks on the apps, met up with him. Immediately, he didn't look like the pictures, so she's disappointed. His demeanor was not something she liked, and so she just ended up walking out on the date. Now, for a start, you shouldn't be waiting for 2 weeks to meet somebody off of an app anyway, right? The whole thing should be you should be expediting that process far more anyway. It should be like, right, we met on the app, okay, let's now move over to WhatsApp or whatever, text messaging service you use, have a bit of a chat there, then say, okay, let's see how we get on in person, let's meet for drinks on Wednesday, get it done, because, so the point is that I recommend meeting initially in real life, but even if you're meeting through electronic means, you want to be making an actual physical meeting happen as quickly as possible, okay? Because it's only then that you can get a sense of the vibe in between the two of you. And vibe, chemistry, feeling, whatever you want to call it, is supremely important, okay? And it does differ from person to person. I mean, I had a experience recently where I met somebody and immediately the vibe was probably best described as electric, okay? There was just this electricity there immediately, okay? And I'm a jaded old cynic now, really, and so I'm not in the full flush of youth as I used to be, and I'm not naive and bright-eyed about these things, and I don't. My expectations are often pretty low, to be honest, about how I'm going to get on with somebody. But with this particular person, for whatever reason, that vibe, that chemistry, that thing you're looking for, exploded into place immediately. All right. So there's an element of luck to this as well. I mean, there's an element of knowing what you're doing and making it more likely because of your behaviour and your demeanour that kind of result is going to happen. But there's also luck, because there are other people that I'll meet and I just don't vibe with them. I just for whatever reason, and it's not necessarily that I'm doing something wrong, and it's not necessarily that they're bad people or whatever. Well, they've obviously got incredibly bad taste, but aside from that, it's not that they're bad people. It's just that for whatever reason, we're just not aligned in that way, and that's fine. That's fine. Not everyone is for you. You're not for everyone. That's that's life. You've got to just suck it up. But the point is that what you're really looking for are those few people with whom you happen to share an almost DNA level chemistry. And that's relatively rare, but they are out there, okay? And the more people you meet, the more likely it is that you're going to find one of them, okay? So modern dating feels empty. How to feel less empty inside it? Well, I suppose I meandered a little bit here, but I suppose I've already answered the question, which is the way to feel alive within modern dating is to get off your phone, is to get off your computer, and to meet people in real life as quickly as possible, okay? And then to bring your true unfiltered self into the equation, to bring your true unfiltered self to that interaction, to that date. And this links back to a video that I made previously. I'm not sure if it's out yet or not, but loneliness, having the ability to sit alone and figure yourself out, is really helpful with that, okay? Because the first thing, rule zero, the baseline is you've got to have a strong sense of self, okay? And then when you go into the date, when you go to meet her, you're bringing with you that strong sense of self, that strong sense of aesthetic, right? That aesthetic, that your taste, your preferences, the things that you're passionate about, the things that you love, the things that make your eyes light up with fire, okay? You're bringing all of that with you, all right? Now, she's either going to buy into that or she's not. You know, she's going to think, yeah, I get this guy. And it's not necessary that her tastes have to be exactly the same as yours. She doesn't have to like all the same music or all the same art or all the same books or whatever. It's not, that's not the important thing. The important thing is she senses this is a guy who has opinions. This is a guy who has passions. This is a guy who lives life to the full. And I want to be part of that journey. I want to join him because I like the way that he sees the world, and I want to see the world through his eyes for a period of time, whether that's one night or whether it's the rest of your life, okay? That's to be determined. So the way to feel alive in modern dating, and I would agree that it is a pretty joyless, static thing now, particularly if you're doing it in the mainstream way. And this is the problem, because most people are doing dating in a very mainstream approved way, which is you meet up and you sort of go through each other's checklists to see if you're ticking each other's boxes. And for me, that is the antithesis of romance. Right, that's the absolute antithesis of romance. Those conversations about where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, you know, so what are your plans for work, you know, where would you like to live, all this kind of logistics-based stuff is not where it should start, in my opinion. Now, obviously, if you get serious with somebody and you want to build a future with them, then those things do, yes, become important, and you do have to address them and talk about them and so on. But in the beginning, you're looking for something magical to happen. You're not looking, you don't want to be talking logistics. You don't want to be talking, you know, oh, well, I'm thinking of moving to this town because there's got really good schools within easy access and it's commutable into London, or you know, all this bullshit, right? You can save that for later. At the beginning, there needs to be this intangible magic quality to the meeting, which comes down to chemistry, which comes down to vibe. Now, the good news is that you can work on yourself to the point, and you know, through solitude is one of the things, but also working on yourself actively. And this is what we encourage clients to do, by the way. This is what the process that we help clients through, to find out who you are and what you want and what you bring to the table, and confidently then inhabiting that role, that archetype of yourself, when you walk into the room for the date, when you meet her for the first time. That's what's going to really tip things for you, okay? Not the logistical stuff. So the way to feel alive in modern dating, which has become this commoditized thing, unfortunately, which has become, you know, it's modern dating is governed by big tech, for God's sake. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that we outsource the most fundamental, private, personal, significant element of our lives to big tech corporations who are all in it for the money. I mean, it's absolutely absurd when you think about it that this is the nadir that we've reached in terms of romance. You know, I mean, this is not Romeo and Juliet, right? You know, this is using tech algorithms to, you know, I mean, it's absurd. It's a ridiculous, surreal, Black Mirror type reality that we're living in. No wonder it feels sterile. No wonder it feels stale. No wonder it feels joyless and almost like a job sometimes for people. But the way to feel alive within that is to be alive. Okay? It's as simple as that. It is actually to be alive. And by being alive, what I mean is you've got to have your interests. You've got to have your passions, your joy, the things that light you up, the things that make you want to live, that make you want to exist on this random, futile, bizarre planet that we're spinning around on at the moment, right? For this short period of time. You've got to have that stuff, know that stuff, and be able to communicate that stuff without being a dullard who bangs on for 5 hours about Star Trek, if that happens to be your passion. Okay? You've got to show that you are more than just another faceless drone off of a dating app who's looking for a wife, because that's just what everyone else does. Okay? In my opinion, that's what you need to do. So being alive in the first place is the way to feel alive in modern dating. And you do that by having interests, you do that by having passions and fostering those passions in private if necessary, okay, and working on those things and having, you know, and having a spark in you that is indefinable but is instantly recognizable to the right woman, okay? All of this is either inherent in you already. Well, it is inherent in you already because we all have these things. It's just the degree to which we source them, the degree to which we access them, and the degree to which we communicate them. You can use coaching to help you to understand what those things are for you and to bring them out and how best to bring them out, okay? And sometimes coaching is necessary, and I do offer it. So you can email me, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, if this is an area that you feel stuck in, if you feel like, well, I'm going on a lot of first dates and they're not leading anywhere, which is a problem a lot of guys have. And it comes down to this, really. It's not necessarily that you're a bad looking guy. It's not necessarily you're not in shape. Maybe you're decent looking, you're in shape, you've got your shit together, and you're still not getting a lot of second dates. Why is that? Well, it's probably to do with what I'm talking about. It's probably to do with the intensity, the emotion that you are creating in her in those early meets, okay? And if you're not creating emotion in her in those early meets, she's not sensing that you are fully alive, okay? And that is the disconnect. That is the problem, okay? You've got to make her feel something. It's not just, well, I've got a good job and I live in a nice apartment and I've got this and I've got that, so we should get together. I mean, yes, that can work if she's now desperately seeking a husband and it's sort of like, well, okay, he ticks the boxes, he'll do. But that's not an ideal space you want to be in. You want to create genuine desire first, and then the logistical stuff can come down the line. Then, yes, you know, the sort of, okay, so what do we both want? Can this become something bigger? Can this become something more permanent? Yes, all of that stuff can come. But the germ of this, the fundamental cell at the center of the relationship has to be based on something more. It has to be based on something more magnetic, more attractive, more compelling, okay? Hope you got a lot out of this one. I think this is a really important topic. We're just scratching the surface here, but a lot more to be said. But further videos will come out, no doubt, on this subject. Please subscribe to the channels if you haven't already. Give me a like, give me a comment, let me know what you think about this. As I said, email me for coaching, troy@realtroyfrancis.com. And I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.